नारायणं सुरगुरुं जगदेकनाथं भक्तप्रियं सकललोकनमस्कृतं च त्रैगुण्यवर्जितमजं विभुमाद्यमीशं वन्दे भवद्भ्रममरासुरसिद्धवन्द्यं नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये देवं नारायणं नत्वा सर्वदोषविवर्जितं परिपूर्णं गुरूंश्चागीतार्थं वक्ष्यामि लेशतः लक्ष्मीनारायणं नत्वा पूर्णबोधां गुरूनपि कुर्मः श्रीकृष्णगीतायाः भाष्यादुक्तार्थसङ्ग्रहम् हरिः ओम्. Welcome everyone to the weekly Pratipadartha. Today we are looking at shloka number 24 of the 13th chapter. We have completed till the 23rd shloka. The last shloka that we saw last week was this Upadrashtanumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwarah Paramatma iti chapyuktah dehesmin purushah parah. So these few shlokas, I think from shloka number 20 of this chapter, we have been looking at the distinction of Prakriti and the Purusha. And that's exactly the question from Arjuna. At the beginning of the chapter, the question from Arjuna to Krishna was, "O Keshava, I want to know about the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna." I think that was briefly explained. Kshetrajna, that he is the only Kshetrajna of all the Kshetra. That is something that he mentioned very, very briefly. And Kshetra was also explained. Kshetra was basically all these 24 Prakritika Tattvas. Idam Shariram, Kshetra Mityabhidiyate. And then he explains those 24 Tattvas, Mahabhutani, Ahankaraha, Buddhihi, Avyakta, which is the Mahat Tattva, Avyaktamevacha, Ahankara, Buddhir Avyaktamevacha, Indriyani Dasha Ekamcha, the 11 Indriyas and the Manas, the 10 Indriyas and 1 Manas, Dasha Ekamcha, and Panchacha Indriya Gocharaha, the 5 Tanmatras. And then he also explains the Vikaras that are possible in the Kshetra, Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukham, Dukkham, Sanghata, Chetana, Dhriti. These are the 7 Vikaras, and then he also explains a few Kshetra Tattvas, 24 Tattvas. Right, and the same 24 tattvas, can be looked at in different ways, in different tattva shastras, right? I mean, depending on which school we, like for example, in the Vaishnava school, we look at 26 tattvas. In the Shaiva school, we look at some 33 odd tattvas, right? So this is basically the 24 tattvas he represents, and this is keeping aside the Purusha and the Parameshwara, right? Then he explains Jnana Jnaya, because that's another thing of Arjuna's question. Jnanam Jnayam cha veditum ichchami, O Keshava. So he explains that Jnana is basically those 18 prerequisites, Amanitva, Adambhitva, Ahimsa, Kshantihi, Archava, Acharyopasana, Shaucha, Stairyam, Atma Vinigraha, all of these, some 18 qualities. And then finally, the true Jnana is Adhyatma Jnana Nityatva and Tattva Jnanartha Darshana. These are the essential definitions when it comes to what is Jnana. And Jnaya, he also explains the Jnaya, right? That it's the Anadi Matparam Brahma, Nasattanna Suduchyate, all of that. The Param Brahma is the Jnaya, the one thing to be known, understood in everything. The actual Jnana is him. This is what we hear in the 15th chapter, right? We saw the 15th chapter beginning with the Bhagavad-Gita journey. In that he says that very clearly. Vedesa sarvai rahameva vedya. There is only one thing to be known. That is him. So Vedya, the Parabrahma, Anadim, Nasattanna Saduchyate, Sarvataha Panipadam, Sarvataha Akshi, Shiraha Mukham. Some nice description about the Jnaya. Then from shloka number 20, it's the Prakriti and the Purusha, because Arjuna's question starts with that. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva. Prakritim Purusham cha veditum ichchami, O Keshava. For that, the answer is coming from 20th shloka. Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Vidyanadi Ubhavati. Both Prakriti and Purusha are Anadi. And Vikaras and the Gunas are the Prakriti Sambhavam. Vikaras, Gunas, Chaiva Vidhi Prakriti Sambhavam. All those 7 vikaras, right? We spoke about Ichcha, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, Sanghata, Chetana, Dhriti, and the gunas, the three gunas, right? Sattva guna, Rajo guna, Tamo guna. And the next chapter is all about that. So we will not discuss too much about it. Because Krishna's conversation here, the answer to Arjuna, though we see one installment of it being called out as 13th chapter, another installment of it is called out as the 14th chapter. 14th chapter is basically a continuation. There is no interjection coming from Arjuna. Krishna just continues to give the same upadesha, right? So the gunas will be explained there, the next chapter, right? So vikaras and the gunas are born out of Prakriti, but both Prakriti and Purusha are anadi. And then he says, karya karana kartatve hetuhu prakriti ruchyate. In the kartrutva of the karya and the karana, or in the karya, the karana and the kartrutva, depending on which way we want to understand it, right? The causal factor is the prakriti. Hetuhu prakritihi iti uchyate. But Purusha, Sukha Dukkhana Bhoktritve Hetuhu iti uchyate. Purusha is the causal factor behind the bhoktrutva, behind the enjoyment of the sukha, dukkha, labha, alabha, jaya, apajaya, ajaya, all various extremities that we face in life. Purusha is the reason behind the bhoktrutva of all of this, right? Hetuhu uchyate. Now, the question might come, if Purusha is such a clean, Shuddha, Atma Swarupa, then how come the Purusha, he or she or it, right? Gender agnostic. How come the Purusha gets entangled in bhoktrutva of the Sukha Dukkha kind of extremities? And then that's what he explains in the next chapter. Purusha Prakritistaha. Purusha Prakritijan Gunan Bhunte. Because the Purusha is seated in Prakriti, he enjoys the Prakritijan Guna. The gunas that are born out of the Prakriti, which is the Sattva Rajoguna. Right? And Karana Guna Sangaha Asya, his association with these gunas, and we tend to believe that, right? Many of us today believe that we are this, though it is our vasana that are showing up in the lower self of ourselves. Like for example, somebody having acrophobia, somebody having a sweet tooth, somebody having this kind of some lactose intolerance, some crazy things we have in today's society, and we tend to bracket them. Okay, this is what he is. But Krishna is telling, such a guna sangha becomes the karana for this Purusha, for the Purusha sat asat yoni janmatu. Depending on the kind of association the Purusha has over the guna, the Purusha will then assume the good and the bad janmas, right? The higher and the lower janmas, sat asat yoni janmatu. And then that's the last sloka we saw. Upadrashta, the Purusha is the Upadrashta. Hanumanta, he is the sub-witness. Witness. Upadrashta, Upa is sub. Upa is also Uparidrashta. Uparidrashta is the overseeing authority, right? As much as it's the Upa, like Uparashtrapati, it's a subordinate. As much as it can be the subordinate, it can also be somebody who is overlooking everything. Upadrashta, Uparidrashta, right? And that is again overseeing also, primarily because he doesn't have his own organ. Sarva Indriya Vivarjita. He doesn't have any Indriya of his own, right? So through our sense organs, he is the one who is witnessing it. So he is the overlooker. He is overlooking everything through our Indriya, and he is also the sub-witness, because he is not a direct witness. The Purusha Upadrashta, Hanumanta, Bharta, he is the one who fulfills everything, who supports everything. Bhokta, the one who enjoys, Bhoktaram, Yajna Tapasam, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Aham hi sarva yajnanam, Bharta cha Prabhurevacha, Bhokta cha Prabhurevacha. All those 9th chapter, 5th chapter, same things being continued, right? Summarize. This Purusha, not just the Purusha, Paraha Purusha, Paramatma iti uktaha Paraha Purusha. This extreme, supreme Purusha, who is called as Paramatma, he is the Upadrashta, he is the Anumanta, he is the Bharta, he is the Bhokta, and he is also called as Maheshwara, right? From Purusha, he links us to the Purushottama, right? So the previous shloka, he links the Purusha and the Purushottama are linked to one another. And I think this is beautiful, right? In the Purushottama Yoga, which is the 15th chapter, we hear this line, Mama eva amshaha jivaroke jiva bhutah. Like all the living entities, all the jivatmas are basically one amsha of the Purushottama, right? So I think that linkage is also nicely, and this is what we spoke last week also, right? At this point, it's getting very, very clear, right? The entire Bhagavad Gita looks like one Pitika, one prelude being drawn to really launch the 15th chapter. That's the most important chapter, right? For us at least, because we call our house as the Purushottama Yoga house, right? So for us, the entire Bhagavad Gita until the 14th chapter is a prelude. Brahmano hi pratishtaha. Until that point in time, we are only looking at a prelude to the Purushottama Yoga. And after that, the 16th chapter, 17th chapter, 18th chapter are more like debrief, upasamhara. We just close it, put the curve, little bit of palashruti, little bit of loose ends being tied up and things like that, right? So 15th chapter is where it ends because he says that, right? Krishna, the closure of the 15th chapter also says, Etad buddha buddhiman syat, krita kritya cha, so something like that. Okay, Upadrashta, the Parama Purusha, who is called as the Paramatma, right? Who is also called the Maheshwara. He is the Upadrashta. He is the Anumanta, the one who actually provides the permission for anything, right? Bijam Mam Sarvabhutanam, he says. Now, at the end of the day, for whatever to come out, he is the sole authority to grant us the permission, right? For granting any activity to happen. Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta, Maheshwara. Now look at this, right? Anumanta. Without the Anumati of the Bhagavan, there is no creation. So he is for the Srishti to happen, he is the Anumanta, he is a Srishti Karta. For Bharta, Vibharti, for protection, right? Without the protection, there is no Grasishnu Prabhavishnu cha we heard, right? So he's the Rudra Avatari. So in a way, that Anumanta, Bharta, Bhokta also brings out those Trimurti Amsha, right? Upadrashta, Maheshwara. We can add that a little later. Paramatma iti cha api uktaha. Right? So that is what we saw. So we continue to see things about Prakriti Purusha. From 20th sloka, we heard about Jnana Jnaya, we heard about Kshetra Kshetrajna, and I think we continue to hear about the Prakriti and the Purusha. We go to the next sloka. I think Shraddhaji has pinned the link, the web link under the room title. You click on that, we will directly come to this beautiful website. This website put together by Dr. Sampadananda for something called the Vande Mataram Library Club. It's a beautiful initiative. They have a good repository of all the Vedic texts. Upanishad, lot of Upanishads are there. The major and the minor also, few, and Bhagavad-Gita, of course, it's there. And we use the structure. There is a word-by-word breakdown. There is a padacheda given. There is also Anvaya, the prose ordering. Normally, the words ordered in the shlokas don't fall into the right pattern, right? The subject, predicate, action, and things like that, right? So they don't fall into the normal order. So to help ourselves understand how the statements would sound in a prose sense, in a prose order, that Anvaya is also helpful. So we look at this from that perspective. But from a meaning perspective, wherever we think that there could be another meaning possible, because maybe of a different parampara interpretation and things like that, we will try to bring that to the table. And if we tend to kind of not do complete justice in that angle, if anybody has any further interpretation to draw to some of the shlokas, please do come up on stage. Please share it. That's the whole purpose of doing a community study like the way we are doing. All of us together, we can learn a little more than what we came to this forum with. Right? So the hand raising option is open. Should you wish to come up on stage, needless to say, please to ping for the mic access, and we would love to have you here. With that, we click on the link. We go to the next shloka that we are supposed to resume the journey from today. Shloka number 24. It reads like this. Ya evam veti purusham prakritin cha gunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi na sabhuyo bhijayate. Ya evam veti purusham prakritin cha gunai saha sarvatha vartamanopi na sabhuyo bhijayate. You see what the Padacheda says. Scroll down a little bit on the page. Yaha evam vetti purusham prakritim cha gunaihi saha sarvatha vartamanaha api na saha bhuyah abhijayate. See, there are a few sandhis, right? Yaha evam becomes ya evam. There's a visarga loka, you know, and then the Vartamanaha api Vartamanoti. There are two sandhis. There is a Visarga sandhi and there is a Purva Rupa sandhi. Na Saha Bhuyaha, Sabhuyaha. Saha Bhuyaha, again Visarga Lopa, and Bhuyaha Abhijayate. Bhuyo Abhijayate. Very similar. Lopa, Visarga sandhi and the Purva Rupa. So when we put that into a proper prose order, we get this, right? Evam Purusham Gunehi Saha Prakritim Cha Yaha Vetti Saha Sarvatha Vartamanah Api Bhuyah na Abhijayate. Right? Very nice. Evam Purusham cha Gunaihi Saha Prakritim cha Yaha Vetti Saha Sarvatha Vartamanah Api Bhuyah na Abhijayate. What does this mean? Evam, like this, thus. Thus is basically we have to go back to the entire chapter. You know, the way the jnana, jnaya are being called out, kshetra, kshetrajna are being called out, purusha, prakriti are called out, and also the ultimate jnaya is also the purushottama, parama purusha, right? The jnaya, the kshetrajna, and the purusha, we tend to use them interchangeably sometimes. And then the jnana, the prakriti, and the kshetra are again another group, which is the Shakti Tattva, again called out interchangeably. So all that we have heard so far in the 22 shlokas preceding this, right? Because the 23rd preceding is Arjuna's question. So after that, there are 22 shlokas that we saw. Evam, all that they have spoken. Evam, Purusha, and Gunaihi Saha Prakritim Cha, and Prakriti along with its gunas. Yahaveti, the one who knows. Basically, the one who knows Purusha and Prakriti along with all her gunas in this fashion, like the way we have understood so far. But gunas haven't been explained in detail. That's going to come a little later. But we have to know that guna is Prakriti Jan, and along with the guna, the Purusha gets entangled and he assumes a different identity. What we today call as the Vasana are basically gunas, the association of the guna for a Purusha. We have to overcome that. Atma Shuddhaye, by doing a Nishkama Karma, Nirantara, we have to overcome those guna sangha. Right? Yahaveti, the one who understands this way, the Purusha and the guna laden Prakriti. Saha sarvatha vartamanaha ati. That person, even when completely being leading an active life, in every possible way, leading an active life in every possible way, api also even bhuyahana abhijayate, again is not born. See, I think we spoke about this sometime back also. There is a difference between abhijanana and janana. Nacha bhuyah jayate is not born. But abhijanana, the word so far has been, I think we have seen it twice, no? Shadaji, we have seen it twice. One is in the second chapter when Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. Right? Kamat Krodha Abhijayate. It is not that Krodha is born in Kama. Krodha is the transformed state of Kama. Right? So Abhijayate is often understood to be transformative birth. It's not just another physical birth, from the womb. Abhijanana can be the transformation. I think we saw something in the 6th chapter also. Suchinam Shrimatam Gehe Yoga Brashtaha Abhijayate. Right? When we see the word Abhijanana, Abhijayate, it's transformation. Basically, even when he is leading an active life in all possible ways, the person who understands the Purusha and the Prakriti Tattva along with its gunas in this fashion, the way it is explained so far in the chapter, he will not have any more transformation. This is beautiful, right? No more transformation is in the Bhautika state. Like, what are the transformations? Priyam Prapya Prahrishyati. No, I won't jump up in joy just because something likable comes my way. Apriyam Prapya Na Udvijati. Like, I don't lose my head just because something unpleasant comes my way. These are the transformations, right? We keep having these disturbances. you know, basically kama, krodha, you know, the turbulences of this creation that sway us here and there. Like, whenever something nice happens, we keep praising, we keep giving party, we forget the Purusha, we forget the Purushottama, the Paramatma, the Maheshwara, and when something bad happens, we run, artaha completely, we say that, right? Sankata Bandhara Venkataramana. Like, we keep falling to the feet of the Venkataramana whenever there is Sankata, right? When the Sankat is off, then Venkataramana is forgotten, something like that. So this is the normal state that people are in, right? So that transformation, that that kind of a transformation ceases to be, which means you will become something like a Sthita Prajna. That's one of the uh, fundamental themes of the Bhagavad Gita, right? One of the fundamental themes of Bhagavad Gita is be steady, steady headed, level headed, be that samadhi, sthita buddhi, sthita dhi, sthita prajni, like, samadarshanaha, samabhavi, pandita, like, panditaha samadarshinaha. That samatva, one of the earliest messages also, sukha dukhe same krutva, labha, alabho, jaya, ajayo. How can you be? Only when you cease to undergo any transformations within. So he is now telling very, very bold statement from Krishna. The one who truly understands the nature of Prakriti and the Purusha, along with the impact of the gunas around it, even when that person is strictly involved in all worldly affairs, there is no more changes happening in him. There is no more transformations happening in her, right? There is no more fluctuations, mood swings happening, mood fluctuations happening, no give up attitude happening. That's very important, right? For us to do Nirantara Dharma Charana, not easy. Many obstacles come. To stay put in the path of Dharma is never easy, right? So, that those transformations are the ones which are the dangerous. Once we clearly understand this tattva, Purusha Prakriti tattva, and the impact of the gunas in all the mischievous deeds that happen, right? Then there is no more changes. Guna guneshu vartanta iti matvana sajjate. This is something that we have heard twice, right? In the third chapter, also, naiva kinchit karomiti. The fifth chapter we heard that. Naiva kinchit karomiti. So I don't do anything. Even when we do some of the sukshma events like, pralapan, visrijan, grihnan, unmishan, nimishan also, none of it is my activity. Gunaha guneshu vartante. It's the gunas that are playing on the guna. To arrive at that state, what in this chapter, which is the Tattva Jnana, right? This is the Tattva Jnana Darshana. In the breakdown of the knowledge behind all of these activities, Krishna is presenting. If you truly understand the Purusha Prakriti, relationship along with its gunas, then when you are strictly involved in all the worldly activities, you will become a Sitaprajni. You will become a Samabhavi, Samadarshinaha. What does Aurobindo say? He who thus knows Purusha and Prakriti with her qualities, howsoever he lives and acts, he shall not be born again. The born is not Janana, Abhijanana. There is a transformative element to it. That's something that we need to understand. And Prakriti, not only Prakriti with her qualities, Prakriti's qualities, which are the gunas, will have an overbearing impact on the Purusha. Because that's also mentioned, right? Guna Sangaha, no, Asya, Purushasya, Sadasadyoni Janmasu Karanam. So there is also an association of the Purusha with the gunas that will have an impact, that will have a bearing in the way the Purusha will go about enjoying, identifies himself or herself to be what. Right? Okay, with that we move on to the next shloka, shloka number 25. Harihi Om. Om ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये सांख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे. What does the padacheda say? ध्यानेन आत्मनि पश्यन्ति केचित् आत्मानं आत्मना अन्ये Sankhyena Yogena Karma Yogena cha apare. What does the Anvaya give us? Kechit, in bracket we have to assume Janaha. Right? Kechit Dhyanena Atmani Atmanam Atmana Pashyanti. Anni Sankhyena Yogena, in bracket we have to add Pashyanti. The same word can be applied. Anni Janaha Sankhyena Yogena Pashyanti. And apare, again, Janaha cha Karma Yogena Pashyanti. That word Pashyanti can be consistent. Right? Kechit Dhyanena Atmani Atmanam Atmana Pashyanti. Anye Sankhyenna Yogena Atmana Atmani Atmanam Pashyanti. And Aparecha Karma Yogena Atmana Atmanam Atmani Pashyanti. That Atmana Atmanam Atmani Pashyanti should be a consistent thing for all the three parts. What does that mean? We click on dictionary. Kechit, some people, right? Dhyanena Atmani Atmanam Atmana Pashyanti. By the help of dhyana, right, by an inner meditation, but by the help of dhyana. Dhyanena is the Tritiya Vibhakti. So dhyanena, with the help of dhyana, Atmana Atmani Atmanam Pashyanti. By our own Antar Jyoti, Atma Jyoti, Atmana, by the self, Atmani, in the self, Atmanam, the eternal self will be seen. So, by the help of Dhyana Yoga, some people will see the Atma in their Atma by their own Atma, in bracket Jyoti, Atma Jyoti. That's the, so, by the help of Dhyana, some will be able to see the Atma in their Atma by the power of their Atma, whichever way we have to understand that. And Anye, Sankhyena Yogena, and some are able to do the same by the help of the Sankhya Yoga, the yoga of the separation. Samyak Akhyata Jnana is the Sankhya Jnana, right? Samyak Akhyata, and Sankhya is also Sankhya Abhavat. It's also enumerated knowledge, like analytical knowledge, right? So it's the analytical knowledge. It's also the well expounded knowledge, right? It's the, some people call it the transcendental knowledge, right? So the different ways of understanding Sankhya, but basically the Shuddha Adhyatma Jnana, Tattva Jnana, that's the Sankhya, right? So some people are able to see the Atma in their Atma by the help of their Atma Shakti, because of, by the help of the Sankhya Yoga, and some by Karma Yoga, and some are able to see the Atmana Atmanam Atmani through Karma Yoga. Now this has to make a little more sense, right? So Atmana Atmanam Atmani Pashyanti. This indicates a certain state. What is that shloka, Shraddhaji? The 6th chapter. Atmana Niruddham. So this is indicative of the Niruddha Yoga. Yatro Paramate Chittam Niruddham Yoga Sevaya. I think this Atmana Atmanam Atmani Pashyan Sthiti, the city where somebody will be able to see Atma in their Atma by the help of their Atma Jyoti or Atma Shakti, is called the Niruddha Sthiti, Niruddha Chitta Vritti Sthiti. See, yoga is normally known, one of the most famous definition of the word yoga is Yoga Chitta Vritti Nirodha. And the definition of the Niruddha Sthiti comes in the 6th chapter. What shloka number is that? Shloka number 20. In shloka number 20. Yatro Paramate Chittam Niruddham Yoga Sevaya. Tatra Chaivatmanatmanam Pashyannatmani Tushyati. That's something that, shloka number 20 of the 6th chapter. So basically, Krishna is explaining where in the Niruddha Chitta Sthiti, by the help of Nirantara Yoga Seva, by Nirantar Dhyana Yoga Seva, where somebody attains that Niruddha Chitta Sthiti. So Chitta Vritti is fivefold, right? There is a Kshipta Chitta Vritti, there is a Moodha Chitta Vritti, there is a Vikshipta Chitta Vritti, there is a Ekagra kind of a Chitta Vritti, and there is a Niruddha. Niruddha is the highest, where the stillness is completely attained. Panchavidha Mano Vritti, something, Chiptam, Moodham, cha Vikshiptam, Ekagram, cha Nirodhakam. There's something that comes. So, Yatra Yoga Sevaya, by the Nirantara Yoga Seva, where somebody attains the Niruddha Chitta. Yatra Niruddha Chittam Uparamate, one who pulls himself into the Niruddha Chitta Sthiti, Tatra Atmana Atmanam Atmani Pashyan Tushyati, he says. There, in the Chitta, Vritta Niruddha Sthiti, you will be able to see the Atma, which is the Paramatma, in the Hriddesha, in the Anahata Chakra. You will be able to realize that Paramatma by your own Atma Jyoti, in your own Atma, in your own Hriddesha. And seeing that, you will be enthralled. You will be Tushyati. Tushyati is completely happy. You will be enthralled. But sometimes some of these states is beyond words. Like in the Narada Bhakti Sutra, Mukha Swadanavat. Buddhi Grahyam Atindriyam. He explains that also in the 6th chapter. Basically, in this shloka number 25 of the 13th chapter, Krishna is now telling there are some people who attain the Niruddha Chitta Sthiti by the help of dhyana. Simple. So, not just Pashyati. When we look at the concept of the 6th chapter, Pashyan Tushyati, you will be completely in blissful state. And you will, some people attain this blissful Niruddha Chitta Vritti Sthiti by the help of dhyana. Some people attain that through the help of Sankhya. And some people achieve it through the help of karma. Very beautiful. But again, this is something to see. Now, when we don't necessarily hold on to the complete message of Bhagavad-Gita and take only the bit part message, I think some of these can be a little misleading at the surface of it. Only in the 12th chapter, Krishna had mentioned, Shreyan, what's that? Jnanamaya, uh, what Jnana Yoga Parantapa. So
that is
what?
not Krishna. I'll tell you here.
Sorry, Viniji, you want to say something?
No, sir. I just want to tell you for sure. Sir,
Okay.
can you hear me now?
Okay. Now it looks like there are some people in this shloka. It looks like at the surface of it, there are some people who attain the Chitta Vritti Niruddha Sthiti by the help of the Dhyana Yoga. There are some people who can attain that through the Sankhya Yoga, and there are some people who attain that through the Karma Yoga. There are a couple of messages that we need to bear in mind here. One, in the 11th chapter, where Krishna said, Shreyo hi jnanam abhyasat, jnanat dhyanam vishishyati. Better than the karma, better than the abhyasa is the jnana, and better than the jnana is the dhyana. Dhyana, the definition of Shraddhaji, what's that? Tatra pratyaya ekatanata dhyanam. When the flow of thoughts, whatever we have done the dharana, right? Whatever the flow of thoughts, when it becomes perfect in unison, it becomes completely. It's one thing to say that no sarvam kalvidam brahma. It's all Bhagavan in everything, everywhere. But internalizing that to the extent where we start looking at the same Bhagavad Tattva in everything, that's the dhyana sthiti, where it's completely internalized. It's very easy to say, sarvam kalvidam brahma, everything is God's device, everything is part of the God. And then come for the next meal time, we will kill one animal, right? We should be able to internalize these thoughts, like, be able to see the chit swarupa of the Bhagavan in everything, right? And 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 that comes only with the dhyana sthiti. It's not just the jnana, but jnana is also important. When we lead a very very hectic life, what all is happening, what all we are doing, before getting the realization of what exactly is happening, we might not get the peace of mind that Shubha Shubha Palaireva Mokshase Karma Bandhanaihi. To overcome that quagmire, overcome that conundrum between the Shubha and the Ashubha. Now, somewhere the jnana has to come, and the jnana has to become one within all of us. So the dhyana sthiti, that niruddha sthiti, for that we need to have all three. We need to have the abhyasa, and abhyasa should lead to jnana, and the jnana should settle down very nicely inside all of us, and we should have that dhyana avastha sthiti, very well accomplished, very well settled, inside all of us. But it might look like this shloka might look like, oh, dhyana is different, sankhya is different, karma is different. In fact, in the fifth chapter, he also mentioned something like, Ekyam Sankyam cha Yogam cha Yah Pashyati Tapashyati. The one who looks at both Sankhya and Karma as the same, because it's the karma that leads to Jnana, and through Jnana we can do better karma, right? So it's not that these three are disconnected from one another. I think what Bhagavan is trying to say is that Kechit Jnanena Pashyanti, or Jnanena, you know, chitta vritti niruddham uparamate, like, that's the way interpret it, right? Because atmani pashyam tushyati kind of a sthiti is the chitta vritta niruddha sthiti, like the complete stilling of the mind. Right? That's the way we have to understand it, in the limited vocabulary of English, right? In the limited powers of English, you have to understand this to be the ultimate niruddha chitta sthiti. Some people can attain that through dhyana. And he had mentioned that, right? Dhyana was what was being called out and extolled all the way till the sixth chapter. That is where you attain that. And that is what will lead you to the great, Atmo Pamyena Sarvatra Samam Pashyati Yorjuna. And that is the ultimate city of the Dhyana city. Sukamba Yadiva Dukkam Sayogi Paramo Mataha. Somebody can attain that through Dhyana, no doubt. But what I think he also mentioned is that there are some people who don't need to put that much effort in the current janma for the dhyana sthiti. Right? They perhaps, I think it's hinting at something called the anari siddhi. There is something called the anari siddhi inside all of us. Right? There is some pratibha. We can call it as the talent. Right? In the local parlance, there are some people who are amazingly talented. So they have that inborn talent, we call them. That's the anadi siddhi. Through the nirantara yoga seva of many many births, I think they have attained, they have brought in themselves to a different level. For them, that dhyana sthiti is not too difficult. They perhaps have that very very inherent little bit of Sankhya yoga. Okay, explain to me what is this Prakriti, Purusha, that basic knowledge, the analytical knowledge, the breakdown knowledge. Okay, that will help them attain the dhyana sthiti or the niruddha sthiti. And some people don't even need the dhyana. They just do little bit of action like the Subaru, right? Some sarva bhuta hita karya, like some no no loka sangraha karya. If they do little bit of loka sangraha karya, nishkama karma yoga. Karma yoga is basically nishkama karma yoga. Through that alone, they will be able to attain the chitta vritti niruddhi. Like for example, there are a few kshatriyas, right, in the days of the yore, and even the current days. They might just be, doing their basic work. They might not necessarily read big scriptures, not do hours together of dhyana and things like that, right? By just doing the regular work, they will attain the chitta vritta niruddha sthiti. Like atmanam atmani pashyan, not just kevalam pashyati, pashyan tushyati. Like they see and then also rejoice in that, right? So what Krishna is telling perhaps is further to what we heard in the sixth chapter. There is a way that people attain the niruddha sthiti. There are some people who need to do nirantara dhyana. You know uh, the nirantara dhyana. He explains that, right, in the sixth chapter. The way it has to be, done. Nischayena yoktavyaha, he says. You have to be very, very sure to attain that dhyana sthiti. But there are some people who do that, nirantara dhyana avastha sthiti, to attain that chitta vritti niruddha sthiti. And there are some people, because of their own innate talent, and the talent is basically anadi karma yoga, yogyata. They have their own yogyata inside them, which in today's context we can call it as talent, right? Pratibha. Then they have their own pratibha. Little bit of Sankhya will help them attain that sthiti. And there are some people with even better pratibha, like they perhaps attain that niruddha sthiti with little bit of their nirantara karma yoga, their day-to-day activities. They don't need to recuse themselves to the Himalayas and sit in the levitating posture and things like that, right? They can attain that. Right? But again, because this chapter is all about the tattva jnana, that distinction between the jnana, the jnaya, the kshetrajna, the kshetra, the Prakriti, the Purusha, and then the link between the Purusha and the Purushottama. All of these things, and then the Prakriti also comes along with the baggage of the three gunas and the seven vikaras. Such nicely laid out. There are some people who can attain this very swiftly through the Sankhya Yoga, but no doubt, if you are even more talented, just keep doing your karma, you will still attain the Niruddha Sthiti. And in that Niruddha Sthiti, the definition going by the 20th sloka of the 6th chapter is that in that Sthiti, you will see the Atma in your Atma by your Atma Shakti. We can understand it better. Let's see what Aurobindo translates for this sloka. The Aurobindo interpretation. This knowledge comes by an inner meditation through which the eternal self becomes apparent to us in our self-existence. Very beautiful. Right? So at the end of the day, it's the eternal self, Nirdosham Samam Brahma. So Nirdosham Hi Samam Brahma. Tasmat Brahmani Te Sitaha. This is something that we heard in the 5th chapter. And the whole Dhyana Avastha is establishing the Paramatma Shakti in our Riddesha, in the Anahata Chakra. Right? Na ati Uchritam, na ati Nicham. The middle point. Middle point is the Anahata Chakra. So when the eternal self becomes apparent to us, whatever was talked about the eternal self in the previous sloka, that he is the Upadrashta, he is the Anumanta, he is the Bharta, Bhokta, all of that, right? In our self-existence, or it comes by the yoga of the Sankhya, by the little bit of knowledge, because they already have a little bit of talent in them, or it could come by the yoga of the karma, right? For some people who have even more. But at the end of the day, it's about getting that Paramatma Shakti realized in the Hirdesha that will help us establish that Sama Drishti, Sama Bhava, that Maitra Bhava, Mudita Bhava, Karunya Bhava, Upeksha Bhava, to have established the Sama Bhava. And that is where, we will be able to have that equanimity, be it Sukha Dukkhe, Jaya Jayo, Labha, Alabha. Some of the earliest messages from the Gita talk about the Samabhava, right? So there are some people who attain that through dhyana, some people attain that through Sankhya, some people through karma. But at one point in time, they need to converge, right? There is no Sankhya without karma, and karma cannot be yogya, cannot be karma yoga without Sankhya, and all of them cannot be yoga nonetheless without the dhyana avastha. So everything need to converge, but the path, the amount of effort, the upaya, could be slightly different depending on the yogyata, the pre-existing yogyata inside all of us, which I think should be called out as the talent. Manoj ji, namaste. You have come up on stage. Just wondering if you have any question or any thought to share. Okay. So let's go to the next sloka. Just click on the link called next on the top right of the screen. Hari Om. Om. Anye tvevamachanantah shrutvanyeebhya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva mrityun shruti parayana. Anye tvevamachanantah shrutvanyeebhya upasate tepi chati tarantyeva mrityum shruti parayana. I think, yeah, very nice. Let's see the Padacheda for this. Anye tu evam ajanantaha shrutva anyebhyah upasate te api cha atitaranti eva mrityum shruti parayanaha. Right? What does the Anvaya sound like? Evam ajanantaha anye tu anyebhyah shrutva upasate shruti parayanaha te api cha mrityum atitaranti eva. Right? What does that mean? Two, but anye evam ajanantaha, some others who don't understand this, who don't understand this. This is basically whatever is called out in the previous sloka, right? Some people attain that through dhyana, some through sankhya, some through karma. Who don't understand this can be that. Or understand this is that, evam vetti purusham prakritim cha. All that we have explained, heard in this chapter, right from the second shloka, all the 25 shlokas preceding, the knowledge of all the 25 shlokas preceding this, right? Those who don't understand this, who don't know this, ajanantaha, who are ignorant of all of this fact, anyetu evam ajanantaha, those who don't understand all of this, few others who don't know all of this, anyebhyah shrutva, by hearing it from others, upasate, they do the upasana. Upasana is again dhyanopasana masane, right? The dhyanopasana. At the end of the day, for everyone, dhyanopasana has to happen. For some people, the dhyanopasana could be extremely simple. For some people, the dhyanopasana could be extremely difficult. There are some people who are born champions, right? There are like Sant Jnaneshwari, I think NCT, NCT Lasio. Madam, you have to come up with some easier names for yourself. Becomes very, very difficult. Ensete Lasio Karpan. Thanks for introducing me to Jnaneshwari Maharaj. I think the life story there is so simple, right? At the early 20s, he could take up the samadhi, right? There are some people, we know for the fact that, the story of Adi Shankara Bhagavad Pada is quite well known, right? At what age? I mean, by the age of 32, he had completed the Digvijaya twice, right? Across, and there are some people who are extremely talented, but nonetheless, that dhyana avastha sthiti is needed. There are some people who do the Nirantara Dhyana Yoga practice. There are some people who can attain that with little bit of Sankhya Yoga practice, little bit of the Jnana Upasana, and some people who can attain that through Kinchit Karma Yoga. And there are even more people who don't know all of these things. They hear it from others, and after hearing it from others, they get to the Dhyana Vastu Upasati. Now, after that, will they sit for 5 generations, 7 generations, 20 years, 2 years, 2 months, 20 seconds? I think there is a recent video of Sadhguru. He says his yoga practice every day is 20 seconds or 20 minutes, something like that. Very, 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 very short duration that he spends in his own, practice, yoga practice. And there are many, many people like that, right? So, but upasana is needed. How much is different? Right? Again, this talks about a different type of pratibha. I think it's a continuation. I think there are some versions of the Gita which see both the shloka 26 and 25 as continuation of one another. So these two are clubbed together in some cases. So, and those Shruti Parayanaha and those devoted to the listening, okay, or Shruti Parayanaha are the Vedic practitioners. Can be understood to be like that also, right? Shruti is the Veda. People who do different practices, daily practices, karma kanda, Shruti Parayanaha. Te apicha mrityum atitaranti. They also will go beyond the ashubhatva associated with mrityu, right? Dukkha dosha anudarshanam. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha, Dosha, Anudarshanam. So these are all doshas. We have to understand all of. So Mrityum here is more like a Upalakshana. If you have to look at Mrityu to be a Upalakshana, it includes all the other 5, all the other 4. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, Dukkha. These are the 5 doshas, right? And dosha anudarshana. This is something that we heard earlier while trying to understand the jnana. Right? So mrityum atitaranti, they will overcome all types of ashubhatva. Te api, they will, which ashubhatva is again, there is no more abhijanana, there is no more transformation, mood swings, they're all the same. Mrityum atitaranti, nasabhuyaha abhijayate. I think they're all perhaps explaining the same thing. Some people attain that niruddha chitta vritti sthiti through dhyana, through sankhya, through karma, through by shrutva, anyebhyah shrutva, by listening to others. But all of them need to do the upasana, and they need to be in one way or the other become shruti parayana. Either in your dhyana avasti be the shruti parayana, you still need to do the practice. And in the sankhya yoga also we need to do little bit of upasana. And in the karma yoga also that reflection need to happen. It could be very, very quick for some people, but upasana need to happen. The dhyana avasti need to be attained. I think that should be understood in a little more nuanced way. Let's quickly see what Aurobindo interpretation says. Others who are ignorant of these paths of the yoga, which is Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga, Sankhya Yoga, or who don't know all of these facts, right, about the Prakriti Purusha, may hear the truth from others, anyebhyah shrutva, and mold the mind into the sense of that, because basically upasati, dhyana upasati, into that to which it listens with faith and concentration. Okay, Shruti Parayanaha, but however arrived at, it carries us beyond death to immortality. Mrityum atitaranti. They swim across this ocean, samsara, mrityu samsara sagara, bhavami nachirat partha, maya veshita chetasam. This is something that we heard in the 12th chapter, right? So, swim across, mrityu samsara sagarat, right? Okay, but again, this chapter, I think all of this is basically very nicely laid out Tattva Jnana by just focusing on that. Next time, whenever somebody does something, we will not get agitated. We will see what exactly is happening, because there is a Purusha element, there is a Prakriti element. We try to break down. Somebody even tries to play some folly. We will not just jump up. Okay, we will you'll see, okay, this person is basically different. His Svabhavika nature is slightly different. Let's separate the two and not just not blame on. His current Guna Sangha is different. Maybe we will see if we can do some Guna transformation in him. And, his Guna Sangha transformation in him. Maybe that changes. No, we don't necessarily need to lose our head. Everything has a solution, right? So that is the Bhagavad City, that Maitra Bhava, Mudita Bhava, Karunya Bhava, Upeksha Bhava, then these things become de facto. You don't really need to worry about them. Okay, let's go to the next shloka, shloka number 27. Hari Om. Om. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetram kshetrajna sanyoga tadvidhi bharatarshabha. Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetram kshetrajna sanyogat tadvidhi bharatarshabha. Let's see the Padacheda. Padacheda says, Yavat sanjayate kinchit sattvam sthavara jangamam kshetrajna sanyogat tat vidhi bharatarshabha. What does the Anvaya say? Hey Bharatarshabha. Very beautiful, right? Bharatarshabha. Now, I think this is the part of the Bhagavad-Gita where I think Bharatarshabha, Bharata, Kritakrityascha Bharata. Until that point, I think we will see a lot of Sambodhana of Arjuna, from Krishna happening with this word, either Bharatarshabha or Bharata. Right? Bhagavad-Rati, Bharata, Bhagavad-Rata, Bharata. Right? To draw him towards that higher tattva. You have to. This is a very and until the end of the Purushottama Yoga. Purushottama Yoga, twice Arjuna is been called out, and both the times the Sambodhana has been Bharata. Kritakrityascha Bharata. That's the last word, right, of the Purushottama Yoga. But Bharatarshabha, very beautiful. Hey Bharatarshabha, Yavat kinchit sthavara jangamam sattvam sanjayate. Tat kshetra kshetrajna sanyogat iti vidhi. What does that mean? Click on dictionary, right? Hey Bharatarshabha. Oh, Bharata Rishabha. Rishabha is some translations call it as bull. Bull among the Bharatas. But this is nice. This website is nice. Oh, best among the Bharatas. Hey, best among the Bharatas. Yavat kinchit stavara jangamam sattvam sanjayate. Whatever moving or unmoving being is born. Yavat kinchit, whenever whatever. Yavat kinchit, whenever whatever. Stavara jangamam, stavara is stationary, jangamam is moving. Right? The other way around. Unmoving and moving. Not moving and unmoving. It's unmoving and moving. Right? Stavara is stationary, like the plant life. They are all stationary, right? And jangamam, all the creepy, crawly, moving, walking, running creatures. Sattvam, being, sanjayate. Sattva is a very beautiful word being used here. Right? Sattva can be guna, sattva can be jiva, sattva can be janardana, right? Sattva can be anything. Sattvam jiva, kvachit proktah, kvachit sattvam janardana, sattvam nama guna kvapi. Guna is also sattva. It's a nice term because guna, the next chapter we are led into the guna, sattva. But here I think in this shloka, sattva is referred to as the jiva. Kvachit sadhutva muchyate. Sadhutva is also sattva. I think in the 17th chapter we see that. Sadbhave, sadhubhave, cha, saditye, pradichyate. Prashaste karmani tata. So, sadhu bhava, sadhutva. Sattva is also sattva. Okay. Whatever being is born, either moving or non-moving, kshetrajna sanyogat tat vidhi. They are all born out of the communion of the kshetra and the kshetrajna. No, vidhi, tat vidhi. Please know that. He's telling, oh Bharatarshava, please know that whatever moving or non-moving, right? He's not talking about the non-living entities, not jada, right? This is all about the jiva, right? Different jiva. All the different jivatmas, whoever has taken birth, sanjayate, sattvam sanjayate, has taken birth as jiva, right? They are all born out of the kshetrajna sanyoga. They have all been born out of the communion of the kshetra and the kshetrajna. Very simple. Everything is a combination of the kshetra and the kshetrajna. Number one. Number two, I think when we see more and more sanyoga, it's like the marriage, right? I think we spoke about that. When we started the 12th chapter, avyakta akshara. Avyakta akshara. It can be the Paramatma's one more description, or it could be the Devi Tattva. I think somebody who had come, I think Shivaji, there is somebody called Shiva who had come up for some discussion. I think we did agree that it also is indicative of the Devi Tattva, but we didn't take it at that point in time in that sense. And that is where when the 13th chapter begins, Arjuna stresses again. Okay, I heard about all of this, Abhyakta Akshara Upasana and your Vishwarupa Virata Darshana kind of Upasana. But I want to know about the Jnana, Jnaya, Prakriti, Purusha, Kshetra, Kshetrajna. So Arjuna's question seems like, okay, I want to know about the Shiva Shakti Tattva precisely. What should be better for me to do Upasana? Should I do Upasana of the Devi Tattva, like the way I started this Kurukshetra Yuddha? Before the Kurukshetra Yuddha, before one or two chapters before the Dharma Kshetra Kurukshetra, which is the first chapter, right? We had a very beautiful Devi Stuti that Krishna asked Arjuna to pray to Devi, right? So, is the Devi Upasana better for me, or the Bhagavan Upasana better for me? It can be understood like that also, right? I think this Arjuna's question at the beginning of the 13th chapter, pushes towards that kind of a thought. Okay, I really want to know about the Devi, the Shakti Tattva and the Shiva Tattva, or the Lakshmi Tattva and the Narayana Tattva. Like in different schools of thought calls it different ways, right? But basically there is a Prakriti Tattva, there is a Purusha Tattva. I want to know what should I, because when we look at things like Ambrani Sukta, the Devi Upasana also will take us to the highest places, right? Now he's telling, like the Kshetra Kshetrajna Sanyogat, without the Devi and the Deva, without the Purusha and the Prakriti, the Parama Purusha and the Prakriti, without the Lakshmi Narayana. That's why when we start the Bhagavad-Gita journey every day, when we start the Mangala, we say Lakshmi Narayanam Natva. We don't just go down to Narayana. We go down to Lakshmi Sameta Narayana. Lakshmi Narayanam Natva Purna Bodhan Guru Nati. Right? We then go down to various lineages that have been extremely realized in this subject. Right? So Kshetra Kshetrajna Sanyogat Vidhi. I think it's a marriage, right, of the Prakriti and the Purusha. So with this, perhaps it's quite safe to assume that the first shloka of the 12th chapter, Arjuna's question, is perhaps indicative of Akshara Avyakta to be the Devi. Right? Do I is that better or this better? Because it's backed with a few more details, like the first shloka of this chapter, this particular message from Krishna, and of course before the Bhagavad-Gita, where Arjuna was being asked by Krishna himself to do the Devi Upasana, the Durga Sthiti. So very beautiful, just 16 slokas, but a very beautiful Durga Sthiti, right? Ha. Kinchit. Kinchit is also a very nice word. Kinchit Daurlabhya Vachakaha. Okay, whatever little. So again, this can be. Sanjay ji, you are here. Would you have any question, any thought? Is there any particular reason you have wanted to come up on stage? Okay, you're not audible, Sanjay ji. Maybe we'll have to reset. Your mic is not appearing. Okay, let's quickly see what Aurobindo interpretation says for this shloka. Aurobindo interpretation. Whatever being, moving or unmoving, is born, know thou, O best of the Bharatas, that it is from the union between the field and the Kshetrajna. It is between the union of the field, the Kshetra and the Kshetrajna, the Prakriti and the Parameshwara, the Jnana and the Jnaya. Because Jnana, the Vyavaharika Jnana is all the Prakritika Jnana. The real Jnaya, the real Paramarthika Jnana is that one behind the veil. Let's go to the next shloka. Shloka number 28. Om Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyasva Vinashyantam Yah Pashyati Sapashyati. Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyasva Vinashyantam Yah Pashyati Sapashyati. The Anvaya, the Padacheda, Samam, Sarveshu Bhuteshu Tishtantam Parameshwaram Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam Yaha Pashyati Saha Pashyati. The Anvaya, Yaha Sarveshu Bhuteshu Samam Tishtantam Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam Parameshwaram Pashyati Saha Pashyati. Very beautiful. Yaha, the one who Sarveshu Bhuteshu, in all living beings, Samam Tishtantam Vinashyatsu Avinashyantam Parameshwaram Pashyati. The one who sees this Parameshwara, who even among the perishing bodies remains unperishing and is seated equally in all beings and the becomings. Oh, Sarveshu is all beings and becomings. In all beings and all paristhiti, like in all the situations and in all the things and living beings. The Paramatma is Sama. This is the ultimate aim of any Dhyana Avasthasiti, right? Nirdosham hi samam Brahma. Tasmat Brahmani te stita. Suhrun Mitrar Yudasina Madhyastha Dvesha Bandhushu. Sadhushvapi cha papeshu Samabuddhir Vishishyati. So before launching ourselves to the Dhyana Yoga, the Samatva is what we need to attain. And Samatva can be attained very well when we see that Nirdosha Samabrahma in everyone, including ourselves. Even we might be decaying, that Vinasha, Avinasha, Avinashyatsu, no, Vinashyatsu, Avinashyantam, right? Nasha can be Chaturvidha Nasha, right? Anityatva, Dehahani, Dukkha Prapti, Apurnata. These are the four Nasha Vyavastha, Nasha Sthiti. Now, even when we have the Vinasha kind of a being, state of being, that Parameshwara who is not having any of these defects, that Anityatva is a very beautiful shloka coming in the Kurma Purana. Anityatvam dehahanir dukkha praptira purnata nashaha chaturvidaha proktaha tat abhavaha harehe sata. Only Sri Hari is devoid of all of these things. And that's exactly what Krishna is studying. If anyone and everyone might have that Vinasha, Nasha feeling, except this Parameshwara. If somebody who can see this Vinashyatsu Avinashyanta Parameshwara, who is Sarveshu Bhuteshu Shamam Tishtantam, who is giving his light without any partiality, right? There is no partiality from the Bhagavan. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshyosi Na Priyaha. This is something that he mentioned in the 9th chapter. But this chapter he said one more thing. Brahma Sutra Padais Chaiva Hetu Madbhir Vinishchitaihi. Like we have to understand a little more about this Bhagavan through the Brahma Sutra. And the Brahma Sutra says, Oh, Nakarma Vibhagaditi Chinna Naditatvat. Like, he doesn't have any special karma vibhaga to anyone. No, na anaditvat. Like, the Paramatma, right from the beginning, has never given anything more or less to anyone. In fact, even when Duryodhana and Arjuna, at the face of it, we might say that, Duryodhana shouldn't even be entertained. Like today, when Modi, is even attending some seminar from some community, people will be like, oh, Maulana Modi, he is trying to get the Nobel Prize and things like that, right? People are so preconceived in their thought that, they expect some population purge to happen. That will not happen. Krishna didn't kick away Duryodhana just because he is Duryodhana. In fact, Duryodhana was given the first right of refusal. Right? He asked him first, do you want the Narayana Sena or do you want me in a non-playing role? Right? So he takes everyone equally. Na karma vibhaga, chet, na anaditva. There is no, so that's what the Brahma Sutra says. So no, that samam tishtantam, nirdosha sama brahma tishtantam yaha pashyati. The one who finds this, one who can see this, saha eva pashyati. He is the one who's really, really seeing things. Basically, look at the Parameshwara, activate the Anahata Chakra, elevate ourselves to reach that Anahata Sthiti, that Bhakti Sthiti, that Ekanta Bhakti Sthiti, that Dhyana Bhakta Sthiti, and then be able to see that Nirdosha Samabrahma, who is Avinashyanta. He is not at all changing, even when everything around is undergoing the Nasha. And he is given himself equally inside all of us. If somebody can see that, Saha Eva Pashyati, only he is actually seeing. Let's see what Aurobindo interpretation says. Seated equally in all beings, the Supreme Lord, unperishing within the perishing also, he who sees thus, he is the one who truly sees. Right? Before we go to the next shloka, Roshanji, you wanted to add something to this shloka? Okay, some aberration. Okay, we move on to the next shloka, shloka number 29. Okay, so again, I think we are almost coming to the close of this chapter, right? So the whole purpose of this entire journey so far in the Bhagavad-Gita is being re-established, which is a Samabuddhi, right? It's a Sukha Dukkhe, Same Kritva. One of the first direct instruction given to Arjuna is that Sukha Dukkhe, Same Kritva, Labha, Alabho, Jaya, Ajayo, Tato Yuddhaya, Yujjasva, Yuddhaya, Tasmad Uttishta, right? Uttishta, that get up is only used till that point in time twice. Uttishta, which is Klaibhyam Mahatmagamaha Partha, right? Shudram Hridaya Daurubalyam Tekta Uttishta. And Tasmad Uttishta Kaunteya Yuddhaya Kritanishchaya Uttishta, he says, right? And that should happen with the Samabuddhi. So the Samatva, that Sthira Buddhitva, that Sita Prajnatva, that Sita Dhitva, that's the core essence of this Bhagavad-Gita. I think it should come more and more, right, to us. I think that is what is being nailed, drilled again and again and again. So let's see what Shloka 29 says. Om Samam Pashyan Hi Sarvatra Samavasthitamishwaram Nahi Nastyatmanatmanam Tato Yati Param Gatim. Samam Pashyan Hi Sarvatra Samavasthitamishwaram Nahi Nastyatmanatmanam Tato Yati Param Gatim. right? What does the Padacheta say? Hmm. Padacheta says, Samam Pashyan, Hi Sarvatra, Samavasthitam, Ishwaram, Na Hinasti Atmana Atmanam, Tataha Yati Param Gatim. It is one sandhi. Hinasti Atmana, Hinastyatmana. Atmana Atmanam, Atmanatmanam. Tataha Yati, Tato Yati. There are a few sandhis, right? Let's see the Anvaya. He Sarvatra Samavasthitam Samam Ishwaram Pashyam Atmana Atmanam Na Hinasti Tataha Param Gatim Yati. It's a very beautiful shloka, very important message. He Sarvatra Samavasthitam Samam Ishwaram Pashyam Atmana Atmanam Na Hinasti Tataha Param Gatim Yati. Very beautiful, very important, I think. What does it say? He, for indeed, for verily, Sarvatra Samavasthitam Samam Ishwaram Pashyam. Indeed, having perceived that Sama Ishwara, who is Samavasthita, who is equally seated everywhere, having seen this kind of an Ishwara, who is equal in everyone and nicely, equally inhabiting in everything, in everyone. Atmana Atmanam na hinasti. He does not kill his self by his self. He does not injure his own self by himself. He does not hurt his own self by himself. Hinasti, hanyate, that hanyate, the same dhatu, right? Hinasti, he will not kill, he will not injure. It can be seen as Atmana Atmanam Uddhare, Atmana Atmanam na avasadaye, right? We have to always, this is something that we saw in the sixth chapter, right? You have to look at helping yourself reach higher and higher position. Never ever let yourself down. And let yourself down is not just the true spirit inside all of us, including the body. This is where when we see any Vaishnava Paddhati, any true Vaishnava will never do anything that is bodily harming. Get into habits like drinking, smoking, bodily harm, not needed, right? Though this body is Nashwara, it is not for a very long time. It is a gift by the God, right? It is a gift by the God, and without the true body, without the proper body, it will not help us attain the Adhyatmika journey, a proper Adhyatmika journey. We need to regain the body in its as good a form as possible, right? So you will never pull yourself down. You will always try to improve yourself. Like Bhima. Bhima is often called Vrukodara. One of the first words used in Bhagavad-Gita, Vrukodara. Bhima Karma, Vrukodara, a very interesting shloka in the first chapter. Vrukodara is basically stomach of a wolf. And what kind of a person will have a stomach of a wolf-like stomach? Slim, lean, lanky. You got to have that amazing power, that Agni Shakti inside. Completely chiseled body. That's the way, that V-shaped body is what we can easily imagine, right? Vrkodara, that amazingly tight, lean, fit kind of a person. He is a Parama Vaishnava. Bhima is an amazing Vishnu Bhakta, Krishna Bhakta. In his current avatara of the Mahabharata, he is a Parama Bhakta of Krishna. In his previous avatar as Hanumanta, he was a Parama Bhakta of Rama. Right? Many of us don't know Rama much without Hanumanta's help. Right? So he's an amazing Vayudeva. He's an amazing Bhakta of Bhagavan Vishnu, and they never harm their body. Right? Body is also one level of Atma. The sense organs are another level Atma. The Manas is another level Atma. The heart, the Hriddesha is another level Atma. The Atma, the Chit Swarupa inside all of us is also another level Atma. Mahat Atma, Paramatma, like there is Jagat Atma, there is a Mahat Atma, there is a Brihat Atma, there is a Paramatma. There are different levels in which the Atma can be understood. I think we spoke about this in length when we were discussing the sixth chapter. But in no form of the Atma will somebody look at pulling himself down, either physically, mentally, spiritually, in whatever sense. We will try to उद्धार करो, अपने आप को उद्धार करो, शारीरिक रूप से, मानसिक रूप से, आध्यात्मिक रूप से, all possible ways अपने आप को उद्धार करो, उद्धरे, न अवसादये, never pull yourself down, कभी भी अवसादन न करो, like never pull yourself down. That message, I think, once you see the samavasthita sama Ishvara in everyone, you will never do things that are detrimental to your existence. That's the message. And tataha param gatim yati. After that, you will attain the paragati. That sama Ishvara, right? Again, Brahma Sutra Padaihi. Na sthanatopi parasyo bhayalingam saruvatrahi om. That's a sutra. Even in his sarvatra vasthita, sarvasthane vasthita, even through the different sthana, like we tend to believe that Paramatma is different in Narendra Modi, that Paramatma is different in me, that Paramatma is different in Rahul Gandhi, that Paramatma is different in say Osama bin Laden. It's the same Paramatma, even sthanataha. That what the way the Brahma Sutra says is, even by the position, even by the situation, that Sama Ishvara, Samavasthita. Now we have our own Prakritika inheritance that we need to take as a journey, right? We all need to have our journey, but that Ishvara Swabhava inside all of us is distinct. It's the same Tattva in all of us. I think that's another important message that comes. And very nicely, see, some people also say that, which Upanishad is that? Ishavasya. Ishavasya says something like, Asurya namate loka andhena tamasa vritaha tamste prethyabhigachanti yeke chatmahano janaha atmahato jana atmahano janaha. People who do the atmahatya, atmahano janaha. People who do atmahatya. Now, atmahatya can be the literal atmahatya, kill yourself. Atmahatya can be let yourself down. Atmahatya can be do something that's detrimental to your progress. Right? It can be anything. Like, these are the people who enter that tamasa vrita, andhena tamasa vrita, asurya nama loka. I think that's Ishavasya says this. Right? So, on the other hand, the contrary to that, Krishna in this shloka is telling people who don't do the Atmahana, na hinasti Atmana Atman, tataha param gatim yati. The opposite of Asurya Nama Loka is the Paragati, is the supreme abode. No tadhama paramam mama. No natadbhasayate suryaha, na shashanko na pavakaha, yadgatva na nivartante, tadhama paramapama. Never let yourself down. And why will you let yourself down if you see that equal Ishvara, equal Brahma, Nirdosha Sama Brahma, who is Samavasthita inside all of us? Why would anyone do anything detrimental, harmful, hurtful to your own self? Oh Arjuna, get up and fight. I think we should lose sight of the focus of this entire teaching. Oh Arjuna, get up and fight. Right? That's the core of the Bhagavad-Gita. Right? Let's see what Aurobindo translation says. Perceiving the equal Lord as the spiritual inhabitant in all forces, in all things, and in all beings, he does not injure himself, by casting his being into hands of desire and passion, and thus he attains to the supreme status. Very simple. If you have seen that Bhagavan in you, will you hurt yourself? It's a famous proverb, right? In the modern times also, we have this line. Now, what we have is the gift from God. All the talents we have, the bodily talents, the material talents, all these talents are gifts from the God. What we do out of it is our gift back to the God, right? We don't get another life. So we get one life. We have to do the maximum in a sustainable way, in a dharmic way, in a universally balanced way. Like we don't disturb the balance of the dharma across. We don't overdo something, hurtful to something and things like that. But evam pravartitam chakram na anuvartayati aghayuhu. So don't be a wasteful, futile life by not actively taking part in this yajna chakra, the karma chakra. Take part, do as much as you can. I think the Jewish Kabbalah, right? It says our one of the fundamental purposes of our life is to do the patchwork, the repair work of the deliberate imperfections kept open by the Bhagavan. Right? That's what Kabbalah says, Jewish Kabbalah. There is a lot of imperfection in this world. These are deliberately kept open by the Bhagavan, by the Lord, by the Creator, whatever. Right? And our duty is to do the repair. So we have to then look at the amount of imperfections that human life was born with. Right? Our canines are useless, our molars are useless, our nails on the fingers are useless, our body hair is now today relegated to only cosmetic look. Right? There is nothing we can do about the body hair. Look at the ape, any other ape. The body hair keeps them warm. Every mammalian species, the body hair keeps them warm. For us, we have to invent newer and newer clothing. So our imperfections were loaded, but through the tapashakti, through the jnana shakti, through the yajna shakti, through the dana shakti, we are able to overcome all of this, right? And that's the imperfection to which our contribution, being in the Prakriti, our Prakritika Karya, Kriya, the Kartavya, is to add to that Paramatma Kriti, Prakriti, right? No, and do the patchwork, do the repair work, which is dharmika in nature, right? So, nahinasti, you will never let yourself down if you see this. Very beautiful message coming from Bhagavan. This shloka is nice. Shloka number 30. It is the Sara shloka, the essential summary, the quintessential summary of the entire 13th chapter. Hari Om. Prakrityaiva च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. Prakrityaiva च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति. The padacheda prakritya eva, prakritya eva cha karmani kriyamanani sarvashaha yah pashyati tatha atmanam akartaram saha pashyati is saha pashyati. Anvaya, the prose order, right? Yah karmani sarvashaha prakritya eva cha kriyamanani तथा आत्मानं अकर्तारं इति पश्यति सः एव पश्यति. और यह कर्माणि सर्वशः प्रकृत्या एव क्रियमाणानि इति पश्यति च तथा आत्मानं अकर्तारं इति पश्यति. You can do the अन्वय in two differently, but I think the meaning wise pretty much it should remain the same, consistent. Let's see what it means. Dictionary. यह जो, the one who, karmani sarvasa, all the actions in all possible ways, prakritya eva karmani iti pashyati. He sees that they are all being done by prakriti alone. Prakritya eva kriyamanani iti pashyati. Tatha atmanam akartaram iti pashyati. He will be able to see that Atma is akartara. Atma is not the kartara. I think very beautiful, right? Thus, if you can see that all of these things are being done by the Prakriti alone, Atma is akartara. he is the one who truly, truly sees. Or if you can see that all of these things are being done by the Prakriti alone, and therefore you will also see that Atma is Akartara. There are two, three messages that come, right? Ahankara Vimudhatma Kartahamiti Manyate. We all can think that we are Karta only when we have that Ahankara and that Vimudhatva inside all of us, that deluded mind, deluded ego-filled mind, right? But Tattva Vittu Mahabaho, the ones who truly understand the Tattva Jnana. See, chapter after chapter, Krishna has been putting the importance of Tattva. Don't just take my message like a gospel truth, right? It is not to be kept as gospel truth. Know the tattva behind it. In the second chapter he says, na sato vidyate bhavo na bhavo vidyate satah. Drishtontah ubayor tattva darshibhi. Tattva darshana, importance of tattva darshana. He laid out in the second chapter. In the third chapter, he says, tattva vittu mahabahu gunakarma vibhagayo. It's the gunaha guneshu vartante, the gunas which are acting upon the gunas. Iti mattvana sajjate. Once you know that, you will not get attached to it. That is, you stay detached to it. In the third chapter also he says, janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvataha tyaktva deham punarjanmanave eti mameva eti. Something like that. You will, once you understand my ultimate divya janma and karma, you will not have any punarjanma. You will, you will acquire me, you will gain me, you will gain the Paramatma Shakti only, Paramatma Bhava only, something like that, right? So at the end of the day, all of these things, the tattva, the true tattva, yaha pashyati, the one thing to be, if you know that it's all being done by the Prakriti along with her gunas and the vikaras. Like in this chapter, Prakriti is not just Prakriti. Prakriti has the seven states of vikara, Ichha, Dvesha, Sukha, Dukkha, Sanghata, the coming together, Chetana, Dhriti. It's a Dhriti. Dhriti also has, I think, the types of Dhriti we will see in the 18 chapters. There are three types of Dhriti: the Sattvika Dhriti, Rajasika Dhriti, and all of these things we will see later. Right there also, like for example, during our college days, we had this song, right? I would fly to the moon and back if you'd be my baby, something like that, right? So in different, kama, krodha, lobha, moha kind of a city, we can move the world, हम भी बना सकते हैं ताजमहल टाइप, मुमताज हमारे तो मरती नहीं, something like that, right? So in love and passion, people can do different. The dhriti, the determination can be rajasika, can be tamasika, can be sattvika. We will see that later. But dhriti is part of one of the prakritika vikara. Like through the gunas, through the vikaras, which includes the ichcha, dvesha, sukha, dukkha, sanghata, chetana, dhriti. Like through the gunas and the vikaras is what everything is being done. प्रकृत्या एव क्रियमाणानि तथा आत्मानं akartara iti pashyati. Then you will know for the fact that this atma is not the doer. You separate that atma separate, from the prakritika, clouding. But the atma has the guna sangha. That guna sangha needs to be constantly overcome. That we will see, right? Little bit of that we will see in the next chapter. Now, for all of those tattvas that were laid out in the third chapter, tattva vittu mahabaho, gunakarma vibhaga yoga, now we are getting the real tattva jnana. When we understand the prakriti, purusha, tattva clearly, then we understand guna guneshu vartanta. Naiva kinchit karomi iti yukta manyeta. The proper yukta purusha will never consider him to be doing anything, even when they do minutest of the things like pralapan, visrajan, grihnan, unmishan, nimishan. Like in India, when we talk to the farmers, they always say, "Kya kare hai bhai sahab? Kuch nahi bhai sahab." Like we don't do anything. For them, work is no work at all. It's just guna guneshu vartante. They are just being in the flow. Like that state of paramarthika dhyana avastha. Like they're just in the flow. Like when the mother is putting the child to sleep, the child he is not doing anything. Like just automatically, she might be singing a song. She might be no. I mean, maybe this generation of mothers may say that, but at least my mother's generation, they would never say that. They might do 10 different things. They might be singing a lullaby. They might be trying to put some, two, three toys in their hand and juggling between them. They might be parallelly attending to their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, their husband, and plus, but they never felt any work being happening from them. Kuch nahi. What are you doing? I'm doing nothing. As though they have few more hands, spare in them that they can do few more activities. Right? They were just being in the flow. But our generation is slightly different. So Atma is akartara. I am not doing anything. Prakritya eva kriyamanani sarvashaha. Let's see what Aurobindo says. Right? He who sees that all action is verily done by the Prakriti and that the self is the inactive witness, he is the one who sees. Basically, Arjuna, just before the Bhagavad-Gita, big Bhagavad-Gita from shloka number 11 of the second chapter, the last word from Arjuna is Nayotsye, I will not fight. Who are you to fight? What are you doing? What are you even doing at all? Prakritya is the innate nature and your Prakritika Swabhava is to fight. That Arjuna couldn't resist the fight in the Virata Yuddha. That's his Prakritika Swabhava. And now you're telling Nayotsya, I will not fight. That's rubbish, right? The Prakriti. Prakritya eva karmani kriyamadani vigraha kim karishyati. What will you achieve out of restraint? No, basically for such arrogant statement of Arjuna, Krishna's messages in this chapter. I mean, he's not addressing that. In fact, he will pick on that statement of Arjuna, Ayodhya, only in the last chapter. One of the last messages, yet ahankaram ashritya nayodhya iti manyase. That's one of the last message of the Gita. That statement of Arjuna, he picks on that only in the 18th chapter. But until then, he's subtly telling, please understand, O Arjuna, whatever actions are happening, they are all happening through the Prakriti. If somebody can see this properly by the differentiation of the Prakriti Purusha Jnana, the Jnana Jnaya differentiation, the Kshetra Kshetrajna differentiation, the Kshetra which is with the Gunas and with her Vikara, if somebody can see that the Prakriti alone is getting all of these things being done, then he will see that Atma is not doing anything at all. Atma is the Akartana. Now, if Atma can be seen as Paramatma in this, no, Nadatte Kaschachit Papam Nachaiva Sukrutam Vibhu. The Paramatma will not do anybody's good deeds or bad deeds. If there is a flooding happening in Delhi, I can't tell Paramatma, please come and help me. Like please move the river out. Please save all the drowning people, lift them up and put them into the beds in the hospital. Paramatma will not do. He will not do the good deeds also. He will not do the bad deeds also. If somebody says that somebody diverted the drainage water to the Delhi city, please divert. No, I won't do the papa karma for you. I won't do the good karma also for you. Svabhavastu pravartate ajnanena jnanam avrutam. You guys are deluded by your own ignorance. Please do. You have to do the activity. Like it's a prakriti. You guys are the ones who possess the prakriti also and my chit amsha also. Bhutanam asmi chetana. And so when if somebody can differentiate this prakriti purusha jnana, tattva jnana, then they will also see that the Paramatma is also not doing anything. As much as Atma is not doing anything, the Paramatma also is not doing anything. But our Prakriti, our Amsha is not just the Chit Amsha of the Parameshwara. We also have the Prakriti inside all of us. The Prakritika Sharira we have. Through this, we have to deliver our duty. And we keep doing it for the sake of the Atma Shuddhi. Kayena Manasa Buddhya Kevalai Indriyairapi Yogina Karma Purvanti Sangam Tyaktva Atma Shuddhai. We guys, the mortal beings, the lesser mortals, we have to keep doing our work. Swabhavika, Prakritika Karya, Kriya, for the sake of the Atma Shuddhi. Because until we do that, we will not be able to realize that Shuddha Tattva, the Paramatma Tattva inside all of us. And Arjuna's message, message to Arjuna from Krishna, this one is, so long as you see it's the Prakriti who is doing it, you will know that the Atma is not doing anything. I think we adjourn now. It's 9:35. We normally close at 9:30. If there are any Pakecha Pandita Samadarshina, He mentions immediately after that, you have to see the nirdosham tamam brahma. He says, no, very next shloka says, ihaiva tayurjita sargo yesham samye sitam manah nirdosham hi samam brahma tasmat brahmani te stitah. Like, no, you have to look at the two no, nirdosha sama brahma in everyone. And the way to attain that is also explained through the dhyana yoga. But in this chapter, he's telling there are some people who can see the samabhava, who can attain the samabhava through the dhyana. Some people can attain that through the Sankhya yoga, and some people can attain that through the karma yoga. But nonetheless, the samatva is what you need to attain. And once you see the samatva Ishvara, you know, who is the unperishable, even among the perishable, he is the one who truly, truly is understanding things, and he will never hurt himself. I mean, that's the context, the way I would like to draw. I think what to be done was explained earlier. How to be done, I think the first instance of how to attain that samatva buddhi, samatva sthiti, was the dhyana. Dhyana was explained in the 6th chapter. Yogi yunjita satatam. Why would yogi yunjita satatam? The previous shloka. Sahrun mitra yudasina madhyastha dvesha bandhushu sadhushvapi cha papeshu samabuddhi. To attain the samabuddhi, yogi yunjita. Yogi does the yoga. Yogi sits in the dhyana avasthasiti. Satatam, nirantaram. Atmanam rahasi stitaha. In the ekanta sthiti. In secret, secluded place. Ekaki yatachittatma. So he explains one technique, the dhyana. This chapter, the Sankhya Avastha. Now, if you can get the true knowledge, also you should be able to get that. But whether you do karma, Sankhya or dhyana, that dhyana avastha sthiti, that niruddha chitta vritti sthiti should be attained. Without that you can't. But yes, you can definitely link what is being spoken in the 5th chapter. I think one technique is explained here. The Sankhya, the Tattva Jnana way, the path of attaining that through the Tattva Jnana. But even with the Tattva Jnana, you have to do the Upasana, you have to be a Shruti Parayana. The Dhyana Avastha, Dhyanopasana Masana will not go away. We still need that. If somebody were to think that, I will only get the knowledge and through the Jnana I will get liberated, maybe if you have so much of Anadi Siddhi, so much of Pratibha in you, that you can, perhaps. But that Pratibha essentially means that, you are that much close to Dhyana Avastha Sthiti already. Right? Doesn't take away the fact that Dhyana, Shreyo hi Jnanam Abhyasat, Jnanat Dhyanam Vishishyate. That's the line we have to take. Dhyana is essential. In fact, every time a new Arjuna Uvacha begins, we should understand that Bhagavad-Gita is over. Krishna has given enough for Arjuna to get up and fight. But Arjuna comes up with an additional question. So, how to attain the Samabuddhi was explained earlier itself, multiple times, through Sita Prajna. And how to attain the Sita Prajna? Tani sarvani Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita mattaraha. Do Krishnarpanamastu is a very beautiful way to attain the Samabuddhi, Stira Buddhi, Sita Prajna Buddhi. Just do Krishnarpana, Seva. Not lip service, Krishnarpanamastu. Many people do this, right? We only do the lip service of Krishnarpanamastu. Do the real Krishnarpanamastu. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita mattaraha. Vashehi yatya indriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. Why do we need the Sita Prajnata? Why do we need the Sita Buddhitva? For the Samatva. Sukha Dukhe Same Kutva Siddhya Siddhyo Samo Bhutva Samatvam Yoga Uchyate. One of the first definition of yoga in the Bhagavad-Gita is the Samatva. So there are different ways in which the Samatva was taught to be attained. This is another context altogether, where, okay, let me give you more of the Tattva Jnana because you are asking me for it. And then with this various different techniques, Dhyana Avastha Sthiti, Sankhya Yoga, Upayoga, Prayoga, Karma Yoga Prayoga, or Anyebhya Shrutva Upasana. In whatever way, at the end of the day, you achieve the Samatva. And in that samatva sthiti, once you see the samatva, where you see the same nirdosha sama Ishvara, samavasthita Ishvara, then you will not let yourself down. Do your work. At the end of the day, the important thing is we should all do our work. Nothing changes. World is filled with uncertainties, unexpected problems. The Bhagavad-Gita's unexpected problem, the way it is illustrated is Arjuna can have Vishada. Can there be a bigger agony than that? Never before has he gone into this state. Never after did he ever get back to this state. Arjuna can give up. Arjuna's Gandiva can slip up. Gandivam samsate hastat. He himself is lamenting about it. How can my Gandiva fall off my hand? Bigger tragedy of Bhagavad-Gita, Bhishmacharya has fallen on the ground. Ichha Marana, the one with the Ichha Marana kind of a boon, he has fallen. Now, what are the problems of our life? They are all kinchit, kevala. They are all tiny, itsy bitsy problems. Our problems in life, oh, I broke my leg, I lost my job. These are all small issues. Of course, difficult times, but nothing in compared to the kind of problem that Krishna faced. Arjuna giving up the Gandiva, Bhishmacharya falling off. How can he? And that too, to what? Nahato Jamadagnyena. He couldn't be felled by Parashurama, Jamadagnya. He couldn't, bring down Bhishma in that fight for Amba, right? But Sahatobhya Shikandina, he is made to fall by Shikandi today. What all different things happen in life. Shikandi can bring down one of the most amazing accomplished warriors, Bhishmacharya. Not only an amazing accomplished warrior, he's also given the boon of Ichha Marana. He can't fall. Shikandi brought him down. Like crazy things happen. So we should have a samabuddhi for all. That's why Suhrin Mitra Ari Udasina Acharya Pitara Putra Tataivacha Pitamaha Matula Shashuraha. Now all of these Shala Sambandinastata Etan Hantamichami, you say, Arjuna. Samabuddhi, go for it. This is your duty now. You can't see who is who. Just fight. They're all your enemies. You have to just fight with them. Suhrin, Mitra, Ari, Udasina, Madhyastha, Dveshya, Bandhu, whoever be that person, Acharya, Matulaha, fight. You have to fight because not that fighting, you're not a fight mongerer, you're not a war mongerer. We got the Sandhana to the city where we asked for 5 villages. To that level, Dharma was being attempted to be protected. Where that guy never budged. Now this is your duty now. Now you can't say Guru Nahatva Himahan Bhavan Shreyah Bhoktum Bhaikshyam. You can't do that now. And so we have to do what we are supposed to do. We can't give these itsy bitsy reasons and give up. Problems are plenty. Samabuddhi Vishishyate. We have to now we have to look at it. There is an Ishvara Tattva in everything. It's equal. The person who fired me had the Ishvara Tattva. That Ishvara was trying to give me some reason. And this is where we brought in the Tattva, right? Edamana Dvit. Maybe that's a way of learning. But I can't give up. Okay, I lost my job. Should I give up? I lost my boyfriend. I lost my girlfriend. I don't know who of us have what. But losing my girlfriend, people think that's the end of their world. No. The life moves on. We lose our near and dear ones. We lose our property. So somebody put a towel on our property. We lose the property. Is that the end of the world? Of course, I worked the last 20-25 years building that house. Now somebody snatched that property away. Is that the end of the world? No. Look at Arjuna, look at Bhishma, look at Bhagavad-Gita. And that samavasthitam Ishwaram, tamam Ishwaram paschyan, na atmana atmanam hinasti. Never let yourself down. Don't do anything that's detrimental. That's the message. Get up and fight. Because fighting is what we need to do. Asanga shastrena dvidena chitva. Now we'll see that later. But we saw that earlier. The 15th chapter so beautifully. Narupamasyeha tatopalabhyate. We will never be able to get the full picture of life. Na antaha nacha adihi nacha sampratishta. Not the end of it, not the beginning of it, not the foundation of it. The suvirodhamulam ashwattham asanga shastrena dridhena chitva. Go for it. We have to fight out every minute of our life. Actively. Don't give up. So all of the samabuddhi is for us to stand up on the feet. Look at the flock of the birds. When this Ardra Nakshatra rain comes in Ashada, right? 5 minutes they escape to the tree and then take the shelter. After the rain is done, you will see the birds would have been scattered. They were in the one single flock. They were in a pack. Because of the rain, they got scattered. And after that, you will see the nice sound. One bird makes a sound from this tree. The signal goes to the other tree. Another bird comes. And they are back to the flock. They are back to the flight. They never keep crying that shocha, we are the horrible species. We just don't have the dukkha. Dukkha is the hardship. But we also have the shoka. We keep having that dukkha in a lamenting, lingering thought. We carry the dukkha of last year to the current moment. We keep crying about yesterday's problem. We keep crying about tomorrow's foreseen problem also. Something that's not happened also we keep crying about it. Oh, Modi is going to do so much of appeasement. Oh, Modi did so much of appeasement then. Like we keep crying about things of the past and the future also. Not being in the present. That anityatva is our biggest nasha. Whereas the animal kingdom, look at the dog that lost its leg on the street. Within minutes, it's back on its 3 feet and back to the motion. It's not crying anymore. It cries momentarily of the pain. The pain subsides. Matra sparshastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhadaha. But we keep crying about the lost leg for the next 20-25 years. In our nation, people are crying about some imaginary discrimination 5,000 years ago. And they want policies to correct those. Some nonsense. That shoka. That shoka is what we need to shrug off. Krishna's message is Na anushochanti panditaha. That's the first message in the big Bhagavad-Gita. That's the last message. Ma shuchaha. Don't cry. Sarva dharman parityajya. No. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. Don't cry. If you look at the Bhagavad-Gita in another sense, between one don't do shoka to another don't do shoka, we have so much of message. Don't keep lamenting. Don't be that rudali. Right? Don't keep crying for eternity. Get up on the feet and move on. Asanga shastrena dridena chitva. Because it's the Sama Ishvara who is Samavasthita in everything, everyone, including you. All that is happening is the Vikara Gunas of the Prakriti. Prakritya eva kriyamanani karmani sarvashaham. So the whole point is get up and fight for all of us, for Arjuna. For Arjuna in us, for the Arjuna, the Partha, there in the Mahabharata Yuddha. There in the Mahabharata Yuddha. So Sama Buddhi is for that. And the best way to attain the Sama Buddhi is to realize the Samavasthita Sama Ishvara inside everything. Adjourn today. I think Prakritya Eva. This sloka number 30 is a beautiful one. It's like a Sara. The complete 13th chapter essence is contained. The whole purpose of this chapter is to lay out that Tattvajnana and to understand that it's the Kshetra, it's the Prakriti which is doing everything. It's the Kshetrajna which is the Jnaya, which is the Purusha, the Parama Purusha. He is the Akartara. Drawing that distinction, drawing that Viveka between this and that, okay, is the whole essence. And in that sense, this sloka is the quintessential summary of the entire chapter. We will look at sloka number 31 onward in the next session. Perhaps we'll touch upon the 14th chapter also a little bit initially. If anybody has anything, please to come up on stage and to share your views. If it's a question, fine. We can try and see if we can answer it. If it's any further thought, it will really help us expand our horizon. Or we can perhaps conclude. Okay, let's conclude for the day. Thanks everyone for joining. This is something that we do every week. Every Saturdays we meet 8 o'clock to 9:30, looking at the shlokas, and for about 30 minutes, 9:30 to 10 odd, we'll keep the forum open for Q&A. And then this is just a follow-up that we do. Every Sunday we start the Parayana session because we firmly believe that the best way to understand Bhagavad-Gita is first know the Sanskrita words, right? Know the shlokas, and to help ourselves with that, ability, we have the daily Parayana of the Bhagavad-Gita shlokas, where every Sunday we chant chapters 1 and 2. We start a new cycle with chapters 1 and 2, and we move on to chapters 3 and 4 on Mondays. We chant chapters 5, 6, and 7 on Tuesdays. So, roughly about 100 shlokas a day that will help us complete the entire Bhagavad-Gita in 7 days. And once after completing chapters 17 and 18, the last two chapters, on Saturday mornings, we do the chanting of chapter 17 and 18 and complete that week's Gita Saptaha. And every week we do this. We have done so far, I think, almost 2 years. Almost 2 years we've been doing it relentlessly, chanting the Bhagavad-Gita, entire Bhagavad-Gita in a week, and then repeat this week after week. And once we complete the Gita Parayana for the week, every Saturday we meet 8 o'clock to 9:30. And so far we have completed till 13th chapter, 30 shloka. We have 5 more shlokas of this chapter. Please to spread the word. We believe this is just a foundational work that we do. The Gita-arthas are so layered. That and the advantage we all have, most of us have, being the Bharatiyas who still speak a mother tongue, who still speak a local mother tongue, is that every Indian language, has so much of Samskrita in it. There is so much of Samskrita in all our languages, be it Tulu, be it Telugu, be it Tamil, Kannada, Gujarati, Odia, any Indian language, it has so much of Samskrita in it. Many of these words are known to us because of our daily usage in our own mother tongue, right? So we know these words, but somehow we are made to believe that the Samskrita is too difficult for us. Okay, maybe in this exercise also, we are getting that much closer to the language Samskrita also. That's another thing, right? And with that little bit of ability and with the repeat chanting of the Bhagavad Gita shlokas, I'm sure most of us will have our own realization of the meaning. We get our own thoughts about what Krishna is trying to say, right? And we will have our own solutions for our own practical life problems, life situations. So that's the whole purpose. So please do spread the word to one or two people that we all know of who are looking for a safe space like this where we can practice the Bhagavad Gita. So with that, nobody has anything further to add. No more questions, no more thoughts. Let's close the room. Anybody possible, please join me in a small Jaya Ghosti in the name of our Gita Charya, Bhagavan Shri Krishna. On the reverse count of 3, we'll close the room. 3, 2, 1. Namaste Vasudevaya Preyasame Priyottama Samasta Guna Sampurna Nirdosha Nandadayine Mukopi Yat Prasadena Mukunda Shayanayate Rajarajayate Rikto Raghavendram Tamashraye Bharati Ramana Mukhya Pranam Tarata Shri Gopala Krishna Priyatam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Have a beautiful weekend, everyone. Have a beautiful week ahead. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai
Jai
Shri
Shri
Jai
Krishna.